I'm Anthony Capizzoli with the How to Tour Italy project. Welcome to Florence. We are still here in wonderful Piazza Signore. Now we're going to be talking about the Rape of the Sabines by Giambologna. What's wonderful about this statue is created only to show the ability and talent of the individual sculptor. It was really created with no narrative in mind. So what's wonderful about this, he trained at the Accademia. He wasn't actually from Florence. He came here from Flanders, and his ability in sculpture obviously is amazing. You can see here with this particular statue, with no narrative in mind. He didn't create it for a patron. He just took a block of marble through the school as a student and created this fantastic, fantastic work. Now, what does it mean? It's now depicting the Rape of the Sabines. It's now depicting the Rape of the Sabines, and why is that the case? Well, there are two things going on here. Number one, it was placed here as a pendant to, and actually somebody's touching the statue, which, just as a side note, don't ever touch any of the statues here in Florence. And the reason for that is, if every single person that came to visit Florence touched the statue, they would be withered away to nubs in no time. And that's also true, by the way, of taking pictures in museums with flash. Every little flash has a negative impact, unfortunately, on the artwork. So just bear in mind, we're trying to preserve this artwork not only for us to enjoy its beauty, but for our children and our grandchildren. And every little fingerprint that touches these wonderful sculptures or photos that you take of the paintings themselves, it does leave some damage, the oily residue from your fingers, things like that. So be courteous and be polite. The Florentines are so gracious to allow the Loggia to be open for us to actually get in there. So just mind your manners more than anything, and look at it, take pictures of it, but be very respectful. So I do apologize. Going back to the image itself. This was placed here as a pendant to the Perseus with the head of Medusa. What they originally wanted was this to be representative of Andromeda, and I'm going to talk about who Andromeda was in relation to Perseus when I talk about the Perseus and the Medusa, but just suffice it to say that Perseus killed the Medusa to save Andromeda. So that's why they wanted this to be a pendant, because a pendant with Perseus over here and this particular statue here would be a perfect complement left to right to kind of finish the entire historical or mythological narrative. What's actually going on here, there was some argument with the powers that be here in Florence about what it was actually going to be able to represent. So they decided at the end of the day to be the depiction of the Rape of the Sabines. And what that means is the Romans, in order to give birth to their own society, had to have more women come into Rome. So what they did is they went to the neighboring city, Sabine, and asked politely if they could take their women to marry and have them bear their children. The Sabines, of course, said no. The Romans said, well, we're taking them anyway. So they did take them indeed, and the Roman race, if you will, was well populated as a result of them taking the Sabines against their own will. So that's what this is, a depiction of that instance in time to kind of build the power of Rome through population. So that's what it's ultimately depicting in this case, but it wasn't built that way. It was built with no narrative in mind, only to show the power and the ability of Giambologna as an artist and a sculptor through the school here, the Accademia, right here in Florence, where you can actually see the statue of David today by Michelangelo, and it is placed here as a pendant to the Perseus and the Medusa. So when you come here, be sure to spend quite a bit of time enjoying the extraordinarily talented Giambologna from Flanders with the statue, now the Rape of the Sabines, or if you will, the narrative about his ability as an artist. Thank you very much for watching the How to Tour Italy project. Visit us at howtotouritally.com. Ciao.